you know, Women Entrepreneurs Network helps women entrepreneurs to scale up their businesses, and of course, most important, to help you with the exit strategy.
Hello everyone, I'm just going to jump right in because as you know we have an amazing group of experts here this evening. I'm going to start with Elaine. I know that you work with your team in a remote capacity, so I would love to know, do you have any favorite tools that you use in terms of communicating with your team, managing their workflow, or brainstorming ideas, knowing that you guys are all in different places?
Sure. Well, just some context is my business, we serve a lot of Western companies like US and European. So we're always like at night, you know, after 9 or early in the morning, like 6 to 8. And because we help them understand China, I also have, you know, people in China. So it's almost like over the firewall. And so it's a remote team all the time, you know, either with US, sometimes with India. I love Zoom. Okay, it used to be Skype, but now it's Zoom. So we have had like 5-way conference calls in 5 different time zones, and it works perfect. Yeah, of course, for the first 40 minutes, like if it's free, you can do it for free. But afterwards, they'll kick you out, and then you have to sign on again. So if you don't want that, then you have to pay. Yeah, so Zoom is on the top of my list. We cannot survive without Zoom. The cool thing about Zoom is whoever's talking, the image will be that person's face. So it's as if you're having a conversation. Yeah, and also you can show your screen, right? So I absolutely think it's necessary to like speak with visuals, like whether it's your keynote or PowerPoint or just showing the files to our clients. It's absolutely important because sometimes if it's just audio or voice, people are lost, right? We definitely use Google Suite, Google Docs, Google like spreadsheets, Google everything. Because they're our clients too. Yeah, so everything is a cloud for us. And one specific site that maybe most of you might not have heard of is called Mural, M-U-R-A-L. So imagine if you use Post-it notes, it's a digital Post-it notes wall. Yeah, so because we do brainstorming, we're in the sector of creativity. We do brainstorming sessions sometimes, and we can do it like 3-5-way, and you can pull down Post-it notes and just have different ideas, and it's a great way to visualize everything.
We're definitely WeChat we use because my business is mainly in China. So, but one of the challenges that we find is just can you hear me? I think it's fine. One of the challenges we find with something like WeChat is, you must find it with WhatsApp, is there's never a kind of an off switch. So for my teams who are dealing with clients all over the world, it's constant messages coming through, and it's a mixture of their personal and work. So we have kind of immediate communication through WeChat, but then we have rules of when that communication needs to move back to email, so we can log it more efficiently.
Yeah, ours is only internally, and what I find is because it's with we have a lot of freelancers and consultants working on the one website, that when it goes down, no matter what time zone we're in, we need that to be taken care of. But with external clients, yeah, we don't want that to impact the employee's time, so that's email.
I love, even just as a quick aside, I'm not even going to be contributing to this, but even for Slack, I have a weekly meeting with one of our managing directors, and instead of having a formal agenda or trying to remember our agenda points, I've created my own channel with her, and we just like throughout the week just add things to that channel. And then when we go into the meeting, on a Tuesday morning, we're like, okay, let's look at our private agenda channel. And since last week, these are the things we have to talk about, which it's amazing, and I actually now have an agenda going into meeting instead of it all being here and possibly forgotten. So Sophia, what are the things we should consider when choosing a project management tool for our team? For example, are there questions we should be asking ourselves and our teams before choosing? And are there generally product features we should be looking out for that a project management tool should have?
Yeah, so basically I find the difference for me personally between the different project management tools, it's heavily based on a kind of personality and how best you can organize yourself and your team and how best you like to work. To kind of sum up the 3 questions you should ask yourself when you're looking at project management tools is, so first look at budget,
then look at what you need it for. Is it for one big project and you're looking at more of a timeline? Is it for, you know, communication on a single project with multiple people from different areas of the world? Or is it that you've got so many different things going on and you need to, you know, put it all together in one platform? So look at the kind of details of the functionalities that the project management tool needs to perform. And then I would say look at, at who's going to use it. And there are so many different platforms that have different layouts. It almost is not better than the others, just personal preference. Do you work better with sticky notes? So whoever's going to be using it, and if you're a big team of 20, maybe have like the top 5 senior people, if it's just you and a small team, ask directly, like, how best do you work? Do you work with sticky notes? Do you work with diagrams? Do you work with lists? Do you work with charts? And then find the right platform that suits the personalities of the team. It's so important. You know, I tried Asana and no one used it, whereas everyone was on Slack, because I think it's very similar to WhatsApp and everyone's really chatty, and it just seemed to be something where people could keep on top of a little bit more. Asana's great at multiple projects that you need kind of different people putting different input on lots of different things going on in your company. Monday is great, and it costs money, but I really like it because it's like an Excel format, so you've got the different columns, so you kind of go like project name, who's involved in it, project status, completed or not complete, you know, and it's really like brightly colored, and it's just very, very user friendly.
And how long would you say, like, a free trial, give it a go for 30 days? Like, when would you say, like, you and your team would have a good sense of, we're going to use this, we love this?
Good question. Well, some of them, if it's paid, they only give you like a 1-week trial. I would say maybe give it a go for a month. But then it also depends on the urgency of a project. What if the deadline of the project's in a month? You're like, well, we failed the project, but we gave a salary. So I would say, you know, it's also based on the timeline of the project. The project needs to be done in a month, then you almost want like, you know, 48 hours. If it's really not something you like to use, get rid of it and try something else.
And talking about, Elisa, just adapting to tools. I know when I was, you know, getting to a point where our business was growing and you kind of knew you needed some of these tools, but the thought of starting them and implementing was just paralyzing to myself and maybe some of my team members were just used to a certain way. Have you experienced that with just people not wanting to adapt to new tools on your team, and how have you gotten them over the hurdle to say no to, thank you for bringing this to us, we love it?
Yeah, I think definitely there's often hurdles with tools. One particular tool that we introduced, so we're a services-based business, and it's very hard to ensure that you are efficient in your services. You tend to, I'm sure those of you guys who are in service industries, you add value and you over-service way too often. So one of the tools that we wanted to bring in, and a lot of agencies will use this, is a time management tool. So we used one initially called Paprika, now we use one called Harvest, and getting people onto these tools, particularly around time management, was we faced a lot of resistance, because one, initially people think that you are monitoring them to kind of check up on them and see what they're up to or what they're not up to, and they don't understand the impact on the business. And particularly in China, they had not been used to this kind of time management service, and they really felt like it was Big Brother looking down on them, whereas in UK agencies, it's common practice that you use time management. So it wasn't until we got to probably about 25 people in China office that I actually introduced it, so it was probably 2 years ago now. And I had to sit down and explain to them why we were doing it. So explain that this impact on efficiency impacted on the profitability of the organisation, which impacted on their pay rises, their bonuses, and kind of put it in that context for them. But when they can see that actually it makes them much more efficient, so particularly when they're dealing with clients who are particularly demanding, they know the retainer fees, it gives them the ability to then go to the client and say, we're spending this much time on your project, perhaps if we do it in this different way. They feel like they've got a bit more kind of authority and negotiating skills. But it was definitely a painful project. I mean, I did an anonymous 360 on myself, got the team to feedback on me, and a few people said, I wish Elisa would just stop with Harvest, which was annoying. But I mean, a lot of them have, most of them I would say, after probably 3 months of pain, have accepted that it's part of the way we need to go as a bigger company now. But for under 20 people, I don't think something like that is really useful.
The main tool that I've loved at every size publication I've worked for, we've tried every single fancy editorial calendar imaginable, it's Google Drive. We love it. It's from when I was at Tatler, Eddie Press, managing multiple ones, even Sassy, and now with content marketing is essentially a blog, so it's basically the cheapest way of marketing online. You can do it in-house if you want, and it helps build up your SEO.
And I think in talking about adapting, you know, I was having a conversation with you, Lisa, and you mentioned even in the answer that you just, or the question that you just answered, in terms of not everyone's the same, right? So different departments react differently to adopting various tools, or depending on your culture. Like, how have you dealt with that, knowing that you have offices in China and the UK, and you have various departments? Do you find that different positions adopt things differently, and how would you suggest, you know, us in the group that might have different departments address getting people on board with things?
From my experience, it's definitely the project managers and the developers who will adopt the tools faster, because they actually can see the value in their day-to-day work. On the content management side, the social media editors, they find it easy to adapt to something like Google Docs because it's so simple. But if you try to get them, for example, we use a tool called Jira, which is for bug tracking. The project managers and the developers absolutely love it. You know, it's no issue for them to use it. But someone who is perhaps the account manager in China to log the bugs in Jira, they think it's incredibly painful. So we just again break it down for them. Why do you need to do it? And what it does. I try to explain to my teams the impact that it has on their colleagues if they don't do it. So for example, my account manager in China, if she doesn't input the bugs into Jira, how long it takes for the project manager then to decipher what she's logging. Has somebody else logged that in the bug tracking system or not? And just explain to them, if you don't adopt the technology, the tools for a specific project, then you're impacting the success of your colleague, and it's not very nice to do kind of not nice things to your colleagues. We all have to be collaborative together. So I think it's really just about breaking it down for the people in your team as to why they need to use a tool, and the benefit to themselves and to their colleagues has been the biggest key to success for me.
And talking about websites, can you talk us through the differences between such platforms such as WordPress and Squarespace, and why someone would choose one platform over the other? And for many of us who have been running our businesses for, you know, more than 3 years now, like, is it easy to make the switch once you're kind of like in it already and set in your ways? Like, how easy is it to kind of move from one platform to another?
So when it comes to tech, I don't know how many people here have set up a website, but so you can set up a website for $50 for free, or you can set up a website for $50,000. The first thing that I always recommend is trying to build something that you can yourself on WordPress or Squarespace, just to get behind it and see kind of even what you want it to look like. Even if you can only use PowerPoint, even visually, like, see how you want it to look. Make a collection of websites that you really, really love, the color scheme, the UX, the user experience. No one has ever invented anything really, really new online, like in a website design, so there's something out there that maybe you can mix and match. WordPress is amazing if you just want to start writing straight away. They have really, really great themes. We use one called Vux, which is VOUX. Really beautiful magazine content. If you have a company that you're just trying to start a blog with, that's a really, really good place to start, is WordPress. And you might only need to call a tech developer if you need to integrate that into the back end of your website. Then you have Squarespace, which is brilliant for portfolios and kind of more product websites, I suppose. And then you have a tool called Shopify as well, which is great. So, so if I was to set up an e-commerce website tomorrow where I was selling product, like physical product, I would definitely try and set it up myself using Squarespace. Really nice to use, really, really easy. I've played around with Wix as well. I find Wix a little bit difficult it's not as, the design isn't there quite yet as it is with Squarespace and WordPress. What I love about Squarespace and WordPress and Shopify is a lot of coders and tech developers will easily know how to build it. But yeah.
Yeah, maybe just one other little tip is with some website packages, you can pretty much start absolutely from scratch. So you've got the possible name of your company that you think you want it to be, and that's it. And then with that package, you get the URL, the hosting, and the website building tools itself. So Shopify is a great one for that. Wix does that, and I think Squarespace does that as well. So there's quite. If you are going to use WordPress, just bear in mind that you don't get that kind of succinct package. Usually, you have to actually set up the hosting somewhere separate. So sometimes I find, although the tool itself is really easy to like update and stuff, it's fairly useful. I find it really user friendly.
Question for you, Elaine. Do you find that investing in technology tools has allowed you to work in a faster, more productive way? And if so, can you share how working remotely and relying on technology has helped you more in your business and how it's performed as well?
Yeah, definitely. Especially Hong Kong is such an expensive place, right? So I think we need to maximize resources, and for everything we go tech. Even we use Xero. Although I took 2 years to convince my accountant, and eventually I decided to change my accountant. Seriously, there's still a check writing culture in Hong Kong, right?
That's so annoying.
Yeah, and also for legal, I use Siegel. It used to be called Dragon Ball. Yeah, it's really good. I think for all the contracts, documents are already there, and so for every solution we try to use tech. In most cases, yeah.
Great.
And about websites, we built our website on Wix. 16 years ago, when I first had my company, we actually hired a programmer. All these different choices from WordPress to Squarespace to Wix to even there's another one called Strikingly, which we tried, and we built a site on. I think it's dependent on how easy to use you want it to be. The more easy to use, the less flexible it is. So you need to gauge your your range. Yeah. But for Wix, we chose that. It's because anybody from my team who's not a tech person, who's not a designer, can update. Yeah. So that was the reason why we chose it, and it was inexpensive.
Sophia, planning social media content is an integral part of running many businesses these days, as so many of us know. What are some tools that you've used in the past and have loved that have helped you and your clients in planning and scheduling content in social media?
Okay, so yeah, really quickly, it kind of depends on which social media platforms you're using. I find that certain planning tools just work better with certain apps. So I tried Plannable, but I found the fact that it doesn't integrate with Instagram was quite annoying. It was quite important for our brand. So then I shifted to Later, but then that doesn't link in with LinkedIn. So it's one of those things. It's really hard. There's I don't know if you found one, but I haven't yet. That does all of it. Hootsuite doesn't do which one? Twitter, or there's basically each platform there is one software that they don't do. So it's really difficult to find the one shoe fits all. So prioritize. For me, Instagram is more important than LinkedIn for that particular client. So then actually Later was a more preferable choice than Hootsuite. I don't like Hootsuite because I found the dashboards and everything way too much. But I just needed a calendar, and Later does that. It's just a nice calendar.
So I used to do all of our social media channels myself for Compare Treats, and it was super. Social media actually played an integral part for our company because our website got delayed for 6 months. So we started getting customers from social media and our inquiries via that. So we have YouTube, Pinterest, and from day one we've kind of had these LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. Tried WeChat. I went into a Lisa chat about that. We're going to hold off until and I was actually going out, I was running them all, and then I wanted to position myself in customer service. So we tried Hootsuite, Plannable, we tried Later, we tried Mosaic, we tried a bunch of different ones. Couldn't find anything that actually fit. I needed a human being. I needed to basically double myself so that I could do customer service and social media. So we put up an ad for someone quite senior and interviewed a lot of senior people, and this amazing 21-year-old, still in college, showed up for an interview, and she just got everything. So we now use a human being to do everything, but how we do it is we use Laser. A week in advance, she will tell me the content that's going up. She'll literally take a screenshot of the next 9 squares and our editorial calendar for every single article that we publish and every single resort that we have and every single retreat we have a rhythm. So on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, it's a pretty similar rhythm. We went to Airbnb and used them as an example. So we'll promote a product, which is a wellness retreat. We'll promote a retreat partner, which is one of our clients, and we'll promote an article. So we have this nice rhythm, and then you don't have to think about it. It's kind of...
And what is Unfold?
Oh.
That's something you said that...
Okay,
yeah,
Unfold.
That might be interesting.
So amazing. So Unfold makes all your Instagram stories really, really, really beautiful, which if you have more kind of a high-end company that you kind of, or if you just love editorial and like things to look really beautiful, you can go into Unfold, drop a photo on and write some nice text on it, and then download it onto your phone and then upload it into your stories. So it's basically a tool that was created to make Instagram stories more beautiful. But Instagram stories, I'll give you an example of how important Instagram stories are. Our Instagram stories get on average about 1,200 views per story, whereas our posts get about 250 likes and maybe 13 comments. So stories need to be treated as another level as well. Our stories are just as important as our posts.
And I have one final question for all of you. If you were on a deserted island and could only have one tech tool or app with you, which would it be and why? And we don't want to hear phone, email, WhatsApp, like try to be unique. Anyone?
For me, it's Zoom. Yeah, you can keep it.
You said don't come up with a communication tool, right? Because I would say WeChat because I can't live without it, but it would be the 7-minute workout app because then I would have company whilst I'm trying to motivate myself to work out. The guy has got a really nice, very charming accent. 7-minute workout.
I'd say WhatsApp, but I'm going to go with Elisa. I did Kensai Fit, so I can do body workouts on the
Down dog is another good yoga, right?
Yeah.
I'm not that fit, so I'd probably say WordPress. I could just sit for hours on end building stuff, and yeah, I'd probably say WordPress. Keep me entertained.
Well, thank you so much. We are so happy for you guys to be here and for all of us to be in this room together to hear all of your great answers. And from here, we're going to break out into the circle room. So